Hello everyone and welcome back to another To Die For Friday video. For today's video I'm going to be pulling out my Bristol Smooth paper here and we're going to be using some Zig Clean Color brush markers. I also pulled out my Mini Misty. I have this template here to line everything up. I use the presents from Lawn Fawn's Toboggan Together and the cake stand from Baked with Love. And I'm just going to use my template to make sure that everything is lined up exactly where I want it on my focal panel, and I used the stitched rectangles die from Lawn Fawn as well to cut that out. So I'm just going to grab my magnets and place them down. Two of the magnets come with the Mini Misty in case you don't have one. The other two are from the original Misty. I wanted to make sure the paper held down really well. I am using Lawn Fawn's Jet Black ink and some masks here to get everything masked out because I want the presents to be in front, as you can see in this one. And I'm just going to line everything up, clean off the stamp so I can put it away. Excuse me. And zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Line everything up and get it all stamped out and nice. I love Lawn Fawn's Jet Black ink. It works great with the Zig Clean Color brush markers as well as Copics. Water, it's fantastic ink. I am loving it. It might be my new go-to ink. So now that I have all of those stamped out, I'm going to remove the padding and I'm going to get the template again and put that down. I'm just going to be using the template for my Greeting Farm image here. This is Edward. And just to get an idea of where I wanted him, I did, as you can see, stamped him out previously. But the presents fell right over one of his eyes and I didn't like that, so I knew I wanted to stamp him up higher, but the template is just so that I don't get ink, one, on my other sheet in case it wasn't cleaned off right, and two, so that I can get him kind of in the right area. So I'm going to ink him up and stamp him out. And I'm going to do that a second time because I noticed that one side of him did not stamp as deep as the other side, so I'm really just inking up the one side that needs to be restamped and stamping that back down. And now that all the stamping's done, I'm going to remove my masks and put my Misty away and get ready to color as soon as I clean off my stamp. So originally I was going to do watercoloring with the Zig Clean Color brush markers, but I got called away, so when I came back I had tried it out and I didn't particularly care for the way it worked out. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm getting all of my watercoloring stuff. So I decided just to use the Clean Color brush markers themselves, and I'm not doing anything fancy, no real shading or anything. I do go over some of the areas twice to deepen the colors. But for the most part, I'm using about one color or so per area. So I think his pants are probably the only ones that I do two different colors on. So I'm just trying to get this to smooth out and darken up just a little because this was a little paler than I wanted him, but the other colors that I had, I didn't care for the blend. So I'm just going over him to kind of smooth him out. And this area I went over 3 times because it was small. It didn't quite darken the way I want, although to me right now on camera it looks kind of orangey. I'm using, for his skin, I used the flesh color, and then for his hair, I'm actually doing 2 layers of mustard. Everything will be linked, well, not linked necessarily, but everything will be on my blog, and I will have a picture at the end here of the colors that I use. I actually write the numbers of the colors on the caps instead of doing the dot, because I prefer to go by number than by the color. Because again, when you do watercolors with these, the color does turn out a little bit different than what's actually on there. So for me, it's just easier. So I was going to do the flicking motion, but I didn't like the way that turned out. It just didn't come as smooth as I was hoping. And this is where water would have come in real handy, but again, it wasn't working. I don't know what it is. I see a spot that I missed, so I go back and fix that. Not to mention his ears. Did forget his ears. All the colors that I am using are from the pattern paper that I will be showing here once all the coloring is done. So for his vest here, I took the blue for just the vest, so this is just the blue color, and then I did try to have a light area in the middle, but this one marker, it's got a very long string at the end, so the coloring, like it hits the page before I'm ready, so I, decided not to, so I think I go back over it. And I did want his pants to be a little bit dark at the top for some shadow, but I wanted the dull blue to look more washed denim, or faded denim, so I went over that and did a little bit of blending there at the top to get the two colors going. And there I go and blow my paper away as I'm trying to blow a hair. I also used the dull blue for his shirt, and I think it's just, he's very blue, so this is a little more geared towards a boy card, but I love the color combination. I think these two colors go well together. I'm going to be using gray brown for his shoes. I wanted dark shoes, but I didn't want black, so by going over this twice, I think I did 3 times actually, it gives a nice dark gray, almost black color. For the presents, I did pretty simple. I just colored the presents one color and the ribbon a different. So for the presents, I used Germanium red. I am probably mispronouncing that to just, oh, hi heck. Emerald green, yellow, and orange. Again, I pulled the colors out of the pattern paper that I was using. And originally I bought the 60 pack of Zig Color markers, because that was what had come out. So I don't have all the colors, but otherwise I would have probably preferred some a darker red or other darker colors. But what I had on hand, this is what I used. So I did go over twice with the green just to darken that just a little bit. And at about this point I realized that I hadn't used the yellow or orange yet, but I didn't know where to do it. So I decided that the yellow would go with the blue, and it would kind of tone down the brightness of both the yellow and the blue, and the orange would work well with the red without being so in-your-face orange. I thought that those complemented each other well. So I go ahead and I finish coloring those in. And then for the shadowing under Edward and on the table, I used light gray, and I do go back in. I don't think I put it on camera. I do go back in with some water just to kind of help blend out the harsh lines, and it actually blended out well this time. I don't know what it was before. I may have let the marker dry on there too much, or I didn't have enough water on my paintbrush, I'm not sure, but this time it worked out beautifully. So I'm just deepening the shadows so it looks like they're standing. It almost looks like a portrait being taken, like for the birthday. That would be kind of fun. So as you can see here, I guess I did put it on camera. I did go over the edges to soften them out a little with water, and I just took a brush with just a little bit of water on it and just very lightly went over. I actually like the fact that the table turned out a little more gray than white, but I think it worked out beautifully, and I'm really happy with the way this card turned out. Excuse me. And please excuse my nails. They decided all of a sudden that when I filmed this to just start chipping away, so I wasn't going to stop to remove the nail polish. I wanted to get the card done, so I do apologize for my horrible looking nails. So I take a jelly roll here. I will say a tip. If you're going to use zigs, or maybe it's just my problem, but I had a really hard time getting, 1, the white to show up, and 2, for it to stay white. So originally it wouldn't come out of the pin. So I used a white jelly roll at first, and then I go over it with my Signo Broad white pen here, and that worked a little bit, but I noticed it would dry back to the blue. So I don't know what it is. In the picture, I waited. I came back to the card later to do the white after all the filming was done and everything, and I got it to stay then, but I don't know if maybe it was the cardstock, the paper and the zigs were just too wet, but it would dry back to kind of a glossy look. But as you can see there, the stripes, it didn't even really pick up the white on the stripes. It kind of moved the color around. So I don't know, maybe it was just my issue. I had to go over it a couple of times, but I just wanted to give the presents a little decoration there. So I went ahead and did that, as you can see. I was looking for the name. I didn't realize that it was on the cap and on that band there. I just kept spinning it in a circle like, where did it go? So for my pattern paper, I used the Sugar Shop 6x6 paper pad by Doodlebug, and I had that already pre-cut out, and everything is just cut out. The blue piece is from that pad too. The banner is just a scrap of green from die cut with the Everyday Sentiments banner there, and then the Happy Birthday from Hats Off to You. And that was also stamped in jet black ink. My card base is 110 pound cardstock, cut to 5.5 by 4.25 top folding card. And I'm just going to crease that down. The blue pattern paper, like I started to say, is cut to the A5 size. And the dot paper, I kind of eyeballed. I wanted a border around, so I used 3 rows of dots all the way around to give me the border. So it's a little bit bigger than, say, like the next die up from this die. If I had done the die from the stitched rectangles set, but I think it stands out, and it's a lot of white on there. I know that's why I did the blue background, because I wanted to kind of give it some more color without just being white with a few specks of color. So, and I'm just using my tape runner, a TG gun there to glue everything in place. And I also had some scraps left over from cutting down the pieces, so I turned them into little flags. And I was trying to decide what size flags to use here for the inside. It's going to be all the decoration I do here on the inside. Kind of place those down, and I like the look of the little dot, but not on the inside. It seemed too small. Oh no, I guess I did go with that one. I thought I went with the other one. No, that's right, the other one, I realized that it was too white, and this one gave it just a little bit of white without being overpowering. So, and I just glue everything down to the front of my card. And that's it for my card base. I do apologize. It's been a long time since I've done voiceovers, so I'm hoping to get back into doing them more often so I get a little better. I'm just trying to put the glue back inside there. And I stand the card up so that I can get it lined up at the base, and then it will fit beautifully. I did think about rounding the corners, but since I'd already glued everything down, that seemed like an aftermath. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day, and enjoy your weekend. Bye.